Disclaimer. This training video on effective presentation is for training and information purposes only. The techniques and recommendations presented in this video are based on general best practices and experience. Please note that individual circumstances, such as specific company policies or industry-specific requirements, cannot be addressed in detail. The information contained in the video is not a guarantee of success in presentations and does not replace the need for individual preparation and practice. The content reflects the opinions and experience of the creator and makes no claim to completeness or accuracy in all situations. The creator accepts no liability for any direct or indirect loss, damage or inconvenience that may arise from the application of the content presented in the video. For detailed advice or special requests, please contact us at contact@xprts4xlnc.com. All content shown in this video is protected by copyright. Any reproduction or distribution is only permitted with our written authorization. Welcome to Part 4 of the Effective Presentation Training. In this part we will cover the methods. This video tutorial is an extract from our one-day classroom training on the same topic. It is in the nature of online video training that it cannot replace classroom training due to the lack of interaction possibilities. So if you would like more in-depth training, please contact us at contact@xprts4xlnc.com. This training module consists of 8 parts, each lasting between 5 and 20 minutes. At the end of each part, you will have time to reflect and make your own notes on the respective part. We hope you enjoy the training. At the end of the course, you know the methods for creating different forms of presentations in professional situations, both within your company and towards customers. You have an overview of the targeted use of presentation media and design elements as well as the preparation and visualization of data. You know about the possibilities of storytelling and how to convey your messages to the audience in an emotionally appealing way. You have an understanding of the effective use of voice, gestures and body language and understand the effect on how others perceive you. Now let's get started with the methods. A clear approach makes it easier to create good presentations. You should have a clear idea about these 5 points. Why am I giving this presentation? Who do I give this presentation to? How do I give this presentation? What do I want to present? Who should review my presentation? Let's start with the first question. Why am I giving this presentation? Clarify the purpose and aim of the presentation. Should the presentation inform about facts or situations, new findings or results, presentation of projects, status update of projects, organizational developments, etc., or should it convince management, customers or staff? Or should it prepare or bring about decisions? Or should it maybe just entertain? Next question. Who do I give this presentation to? Analyzing the audience. Who is taking part? How well do I know the participants? Are there hierarchical barriers? What agenda do the participants have? What represents value for the participants? How can I create this value? Next question. How do I give this presentation? Choose the form of your presentation. Should it be a presentation or documentation? Do I present to a large group or small group? Should it be pyramidal or academic? Should it be classic slide presentation or an alternative format? What do you want to present? Design the presentation. Create a screenplay or storyline. Make the red thread clear. Think about duration and timing. Draft your story. The last, but definitely not the least question is, who should review my presentation? Review the presentation. Is the flow right? Is the logic right? Are the graphics right? Is the language right? Now let's go through all 5 steps in detail. Always start with why. Why am I giving this presentation? Clarity about the why is always the first step. Here is an example. Purpose: informing employees about an upcoming organizational change. Objectives: obtain the support, buy-in, of employees. Create transparency in the implementation. Allay fears through clear communication. The next question would be, who am I talking to? In order to connect with your audience in your presentation, you need to know who they are. Questions you should ask yourself about the audience. What is the position of the participants in the organization? Are they decision makers or implementers? What is important to them? What level of knowledge do the participants have? How familiar are they with the project? How familiar are they with the subject matter? Where do I need to pick them up? What are the participants' communication preferences? What are the attitudes and feelings of the participants? What does this project mean for them? What will your recommendations mean to them? How do they feel about each other? What do they think about you? What keeps the participants awake at night? Pain points. Spend more thinking about your audience. What kind of guys are they? In general, there are 4 different types of listener personalities: dominance, initiative, continuity, and conscientiousness. These 4 types can be well represented in a 4-quadrant system. The dominance type can be found in the quadrant between relationship and extroverted. The dominance type takes command, aims for quick results, decides quickly, asks questions about current conditions. The type initiative is more interested in the subject matter. He or she provides optimism and enthusiasm, enjoys being the center of attention, enjoys working in groups, communicates feelings openly. The type continuity is rather introverted and relationship-oriented. He or she focuses on tasks, creates a stable and consistent working environment, complies with accepted work procedures, listens calmly, attentively and patiently. And finally, the type conscientiousness. He or she concentrates on details, thinks critically and checks accuracy, decides analytically after all data has been collected and assessed. Let's stay for a while with our audience and think about the question: how to deal with them, because every personality type wants to be treated differently. Dominance. Be direct and get to the point quickly. Focus on the big picture and the result. Initiative. Be friendly and communicative. Be prepared to ensure completion, commitment. Continuity. Argue in a structured and logical way. Be persistent. Conscientiousness. Have all the details and facts ready. Ensure the quality. And what are the personas? Typical representatives of the 4 types. Dominance. Executives. Executive management. VP level. Initiative. Head of department. Middle management. Continuity. Human resources. Finance. Quality management. Purchasing. Conscientiousness. Engineers. Developers. Quality assurance. And what is the best way to respond to them? Always keep the Wi-Fi, what's in it for you, in mind, meaning the benefit for the audience. Keep the potential questions of your audience in mind. These could be questions such as: why are you telling me this? Why is it important to me? Why should I do this? What is the benefit to me? Now let's move on to the third of our 5 steps. How do I give this presentation? The form of the presentation depends heavily on the experience and preference of the presenter. If in doubt, choose the form you feel most confident with. If you have a small group and the main purpose is to convince them, then choose a free presentation. Use the whiteboard or flip chart. Make it pyramidal. Incorporate interactive elements. If you have a small group and the purpose is to inform, then use a slide presentation or Prezi. Make it pyramidal, presentational, and incorporate interactive elements. If you need to convince a larger group, also use a slide presentation or Prezi. Make it pyramidal and presentational. If you have a larger group and just need to inform, then use a slide presentation. That should be documentary and academic. After we have covered the why, the how, and the who, let's now move on to the what. It is all about telling your story. The storyline determines the flow of your story. This is the most difficult and tedious part of creating a presentation. It is often characterized by initial uncertainty and sometimes requires several iterations. The major steps are: definition of the core message, collecting arguments, putting arguments into an order as argumentation groups or chains, collect details of the arguments and have them ready. If you're not sure yet, the pyramid principle also helps when creating presentations. Top-down or bottom-up approach. Structure from top to bottom when the message is clear. Structure from the bottom up if your thinking is not yet complete. If you are then sure. When your pyramid is ready, create slides and put them in the right order. This is the one that corresponds to the logic of the argument. Your agenda is now ready. It is helpful to draw and visualize the individual slides with the content as a rough concept. This can be done digitally or the old-fashioned way on paper. And now our presentation is almost finished. Make sure that the red thread remains recognizable. Make sure that you stay within the allotted time. Estimate the time required for each slide. Think about where questions might arise. Plan for this. The rule of thumb for the time required is 3 to 4 minutes per slide over the entire presentation. For a 30-minute presentation, you should therefore have no more than 10 slides of content. This does not include the agenda, title and closing slides. Inexperienced presenters should rehearse their presentation beforehand to ensure that the message can be delivered in the allotted time. Use action titles in the header that tell the story horizontally. Make complete sentences, not just keywords. And finally, have your presentation reviewed by a colleague because 4 eyes see more than 2. Check your work. Check the flow by reading only the headers. Have any important messages been lost in the pages? Could some pages be shortened or moved to the appendices? Is there a clear transition between headers? Will anything confuse or annoy your audience? Are you labeling clearly, verbally or graphically? Check the logic of each page in turn. Does the page support the headline or elaborate on it? Are bullet points parallel in logic and language? Are there too many bullet points? Can they be grouped? Are the bullet points arranged in as logical an order as possible? Check each graphic in turn. Does the graphic communicate a clear message? Do similar looking objects have similar meanings? Have you used shading sparingly and sensibly? Have you avoided unnecessary clutter and left enough white space? Have you included a title, source and notes? Check the language. Is the tone appropriate? Should you ask a native speaker to check your text? Are you using terms consistently throughout the document? Have you checked spelling and grammar yourself, and not just relied on the computer? Now lean back and think about your 3 key findings from this block. Write them down. Congratulations for finishing this 4th module of the course. Reward yourself and take a short break. We will see you back in Module 5.